Hi, this is Vanessa Carlton, and you are live in Limbo.
Hey guys, it's Katrina here from Live in Limbo, here with Vanessa Carlton. Thanks so much for joining us today, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So I just wanted to start off by calling out the different influences that you've had. So you've mentioned in the past that you've been inspired by a number of books, such as Joseph Campbell's The Power of Myth, Aldous Huxley's The Doors of Perspective, and also the painting that your, was it great-grandfather or grandfather created?
Grandfather.
Your grandfather created. And I think that's so fascinating because a lot of artists, when they talk about their influences for an album, they'll talk about listening to a lot of Elvis or a lot of Sinatra or other musical artists that they've drawn from.
Yeah.
So how do you gain that inspiration from those different medias, and how does that come to life when you're writing a new song?
Yeah. Well, good question. I think the thing with the painting and how that inspired the record is the palette of the painting. My grandfather was an unusual painter in that he was traditionally trained, but his choice of colors was always like really out there and a real juxtaposition to that tradition of whatever he was painting. So like there's a particular mural that I fell in love with and really got lost in when I was writing this music is of these three women painted very well, but the palette is like from another dimension. And I think that just looking at it in the way it was hanging when I wrote this record in New York, the place it was hanging, it's like all you really could see if you were sitting at the piano. I feel like I was writing the music of the colors, like I was trying to write the painting's music or something. Mm-hmm. And then those other books that you mentioned, I think a lot of philosophical ideas will influence my lyrics. I try and really up my game with the lyrics, things that I'm gonna like to sing like 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not like the Dear Diary stuff that we all start out writing. Not all of us, by the way. Some people come out of the box like geniuses, but some of us don't. And so I pull from different mediums for sure. They all influence what I'm doing.
So will you find that you'll be reading a novel and then that inspiration will strike, or you'll read it and then maybe a couple of days or a couple of months or years later you'll think back to that moment and say, hey, that was an idea right there?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything goes into the vault, you know, and then when it's time to write, because I won't write for like a year or more. And then I just start writing again. And then I just like write the record. Mm-hmm. And I'm not someone that writes every day. Mm-hmm. And I feel okay with that. Actually, I used to stress about it, but now I'm like, that's just not the way I do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about those people who do the one song a day kind of challenge? Is that something you would ever challenge yourself to do, or are you happy with keeping that divide and balance that you have right now?
Well, I think it's important to be up for a challenge and to be up to try and explore totally different approaches, you know? Mm-hmm. I did do that recently, actually. I wrote with someone, and we wrote a song, and it like came out in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
That was cool. But you have to really set up the environment to do it. I don't think it's good to be too closed off, but I definitely have a rhythm to how I write.
Mm-hmm. And what does that ideal environment look like to you?
Well, if you're going to try and bang out a song in like a day or an hour, it's like you have to just... First of all, I have a 2-year-old baby, so I have to be away from her because she's so loud and adorable, and I'm just so drawn to her, I cannot focus. So I have to like literally leave the house, or dad has to take her to the playground or something. I would need to, in this case, I was with another writer who just had this awesome flow, real total confidence, so there was none of that like, you know, the trickiest thing in a co-write, I think, is when you start like getting insecure, like, you know, that was always my greatest fear, is like, I would never want to read this out loud to a stranger. But it's like, if you're in the midst of in a workshop type environment with someone, you just have to just be willing to like throw things out there and not judge them. That's like, that can be hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. You're bearing your soul and to have that other person there.
Yeah, and then it's all about chemistry, you know, you set yourself up and see what happens.
Yep. So your previous album, Liberman, you wrote before you gave birth. So have you written any songs since that were inspired by the new addition to your family?
Well, I'm actually going to play a new song tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's just starting to take shape, like there's like a real delayed reaction to all big things in my life in terms of like when they finally get to like a song from me, you know. I think it's starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With something like that, though, it's such a big thing. So maybe is it 'cause it takes time to process and to define those thoughts into that moment?
Yeah, you know, the name of the new song is Love is an Art. So that's definitely, I think, maybe even be the name of the new record. So I think that really embodies like what this record is going to be.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
looking forward to hearing it tonight. And
Oh,
thank
thanks.
you for the potential spoiler that you just threw in for us. So you've mentioned in the past, well, actually, I don't know if you've mentioned it explicitly or if people have just drawn this from elsewhere, that you were looking into doing some film scoring. Is that based in fact, or did someone just draw that from nothing? And is that something you're genuinely interested in and that might be in your future eventually?
Yeah, well, that's my answer for every single time I'm asked, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing in the future? It's just,
Yeah.
I know it. I can feel it. I think I have another record I'm going to do. If some director or producer just reached out to me out of the blue and asked me, I would say yes,
So
if it made sense.
Any directors or producers that are watching this,
you know,
there's an invite happening right there.
I think I also like really respect that craft. And I said, like, even recently the I can't remember his name, the wonderful composer who did music in Moonlight, which we were talking about. You know, he's producing and engineering his stuff too. He has his own studio. He's a one-man shop. Like, I'm not quite there yet, but I know that I would have the music for it. You know, it's just I would need like more people on my crew. So.
Well, it's good to have something to work toward, and you've been in this industry for quite some time now, so it's great that even despite that, there's still things to grow and things to move towards as well.
Totally.
So I was doing a little bit of research, and I found out that a rapper by the name of Cameron is using one of your older pieces, 1,000 Miles, and sampling it into another piece of work. So do you have any thoughts about that? I know it's a very different genre than where you currently operate in.
I think I heard that. I thought it was good. I think that song is like really deceptive because people think they can sample it, but it always sounds like crap. Like, for real, it's really difficult to get that to work. I'm flattered because people want to try and like recreate something or create a collage with it or something. It's like, I guess it means that people are inspired by the song, you know.
So when someone comes and uses the song like that, I'm assuming they have to ask for your permission beforehand.
I guess so. I don't remember being asked permission, but maybe I'll get the royalties. I'm sure
That's
I
nice
will.
as well, yeah. So I guess I got one last question for you. In the past, you've done a lot of philanthropy work, stuff with PETA and stuff with the UN regarding women's rights. Is there any cause right now that you feel especially passionate toward?
I think that women's reproductive rights are my number one.
Well, there's definitely a lot of news out there in the world and things happening. So it's always good to have people championing that very important cause.
Yes. I went to the Women's March with my baby, and she was so like eyes wide open and happy. You know, she was happy to be part of that energy. And I went to the one in Nashville. I think it's time. People are like really coming alive. People are really feeling empathy, and also I think people are starting to feel like, okay, wait, this particular topic or this right or this situation is very, very important to me. And I'm not just going to read the news and just let it slide by. I want to get involved in how policy affects my life, my family, my rights, you know.
Completely agreed. It's sad how sometimes it takes something like that to bring everyone together, but the fact that everyone is being brought together and that we're moving towards positive change, I think is a really good cause.
It's going to take a lot of work, so people need to stay woke, as they say.
Did you guys get a sign that you carried during the Women's March? Did you have a creative one that you made?
No. We didn't, because I had the baby, but I do remember picking up someone's sign that they dropped. But no, we did not make any signs. I was just trying to not lose my baby in the march. So.
That's a very important cause in itself. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking the time with us today, Vanessa. Looking forward to hearing the new song.
Thank you.
And have a great show and good luck with the new album as well.
Nice to talk to you.
Thanks.